Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for yet another player ratings live stream by myself and CFCPys. Now, I should be getting your name right, and I shouldn't be saying things that I'm struggling to pronounce as CFCPys, and then I'm not butchering your name either. So, CFCPys, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. Good, you finally figured it out, but that's all good. It's yeah, I'm glad to be back on, and really happy today. Another win, so yeah, it's really good.
It is really good. Obviously, I think everyone can agree that the first half was really, really good today, and the second half was just, well, a bit of a ball fest and just not as fun as we all hoped after the first half. You know, I think we were all hoping for like maybe not a total goal fest, but like, you know, at least 3 or 4 goals. You know, maybe Timo Werner getting a second. That would have been lovely. But at the end of the day, we're now 4th. We're ahead of Liverpool. We still haven't lost. We still haven't even conceded a goal scored by an opponent under Thomas Tuchel. So as much as the second half could have been a bit more fun, at the end of the day, we can't really complain now, can we?
No, we're doing really, really good. We look solid in defence. I like the 3 at the back formation at the moment. It seems to be working well. Tuchel said, you know, there's no need to change it at the moment. Which is interesting to be going forward. Obviously, we've got a few big games coming up: Southampton, then Atletico Madrid, and then Manchester United. So these are the sort of big games we've been waiting to see how this squad does. And I think obviously Tottenham was obviously a big game, but other than that, sort of the fixtures we've had, I would have expected us to sort of win, knowing our quality, but I think I'm just really excited, really, because like the squads we're putting out at the moment don't even include, you know, the likes of Pulisic and Ziyech and Havertz and players that we really thought would do amazing things this season, and like they haven't hit like top form, like any of them, and we're still doing really well. So it's like, imagine if they can hit top form, you know, a few of them. So that would be really interesting to see as the weeks go forward, who sort of starts to stand out, and if Havertz or Pulisic or Ziyech or Werner again did well today, but can they, you know, multiple of them, can they step up to the plate and deliver, which will be really good if they can, because that means that we should comfortably finish top 4.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Honestly, I couldn't agree more. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, everyone that's watching right now, first of all, big shout out to yourself. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Smash the like button. You know, the more people that like these things, the easier becomes to push these videos out to more people, because the YouTube algorithm really likes, you know, if people hit like on a video and then they're like, oh, people like this, so we must show it to more people. So the more of you that like it, the better that is for me. Hence why the likes are actually, even though they don't give me money or anything, it just helps anyway. So smash the like button, that'd be sick. If you fancy becoming a member, like Rajib just did, which is massive shout out to you. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that, bro. Click the join button underneath. And if you really want me to see one of your chat messages, you know, use the super chat function if you fancy it. And of course, don't forget, check out Pys, that, you know, on Twitter. His link is down in the description. You know, follow him if you don't already. What you're doing, but you know, just do that, and we'll just talk through the players today, like we did last time out, and we'll just have a bit of fun. You know, at the moment it is just a bit of fun, because I mean, we're getting dubs left, right, and center, and you know, just brilliant. So, Fantasy PGA Tour has already put in a donation, which I love, saying, "Funny how Timo still hasn't hit the back of the net." That is funny. You know, he scored, and obviously the goalkeeper kind of dragged it out just behind the goal line. It's quite good, that. Oh, Rajib, do you want to get on the call? Well, if you really want to get on the call, message me on Twitter, and put it in the chat when you have messaged me on Twitter, and then I will see what I can do, bro. But Pys, let's just start with the lineup. I would suggest. Do we have that here somewhere? We do, actually. Let me do something different so people can actually still see my face and I don't have to cover the whole thing. The lineup was a bit surprising today. Well, I say the lineup. Just one position was a bit surprising today, wasn't it? Because out of nowhere, bloody Kepa started. And we certainly didn't see that coming now, did we?
No, you know, I did message you saying that I was, you know, really angry and things like that, but I've kind of like cooled off a little bit now, because at the end of the game, Tuchel did say that Mendy is still his number 1, and I think that's the thing that I was worried about, was, you know, potentially ball pressure leading, you know, Kepa to become number 1 again. So, you know, maybe Marina could, you know, get back a bit of money on her investment. That's the sort of thing that I was thinking, but I'm glad to hear that, you know, today was just sort of like a one-off in terms of a Premier League start for Kepa. I think Tuchel mentioned Mendy needed to recover physically and mentally, so not sure if there was anything going on in the background there, but yeah, Mendy's still number one for me. Glad to hear he is for Tuchel as well. Definitely think he's the better keeper, but this is not hate on Kepa, not at all. I just, you know, when you've got two options, you've got to try and pick the better one. You have to. And goalkeeper is such an important position. And to be fair to Kepa, he did all right today. He made a good save. Obviously, he didn't have much to do, but what he had to do, he did okay. He did well. So, yes, it's definitely no hate on Kepa. You know, if he's starting in goal, then obviously I'll back him. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with the decision. And I definitely didn't today. But again, it seems like it's a one-off, and it didn't affect us anyway because, as I've said, Newcastle didn't really attack us. We defended well, solid and compact. So yeah, I was happy.
Yeah, it's a weird one, really. Obviously, I've got the lineup up on screen now, and I don't think any of us expected it. And in hindsight, even especially now that he said Mendy is still a number one, and he's not saying it's a proper fight for number one, I understand it even less. Like, obviously, he said before the game, you know, the squad needs a strong Kepa, and he played well last time and whatever else. That still doesn't explain anything to me, like why he needed to play today. Like, say after obviously Mendy had a few shaky games, he obviously could have, you know, should have done better maybe for the Leeds goal when we beat them at Stamford Bridge. You know, obviously gave the penalty away at Everton. I thought he could have done better against Arsenal and against Man City. So if after any of these games, obviously Lampard was still in charge, then Mendy Kepa came into the side, I could somewhat accept that. You know, give him another chance after the other guy messed up a little bit, even if it wasn't badly, messed up a little bit. Then I get it. But Mendy has been equally or very solid under Tuchel, so I didn't really fully understand it. But hey, you know, he said after the game he's still his first choice, and I guess the rest was pretty much as expected. Of course, in a 3-4-2-1 formation, Aspie, Christensen, Rudiger, Hudson-Odoi as the wingback, Alonso on the other side. Kovacic and Jorginho, again, of course, rather than Kante, obviously, who played against Barnsley and wasn't very good. Tammy Abraham started up top. I expected that personally, but then Timo Werner as kind of the left inside forward with Mason Mount as kind of the right inside forward, and of course, slightly more defensive than Timo was, I guess, out of the two, if you want to talk it like that. But what else is there? What else is there to say? Let me just follow up on the chat here if I want to say everything right. Let me just... you don't have Twitter. Well, how on has to be Facebook? Bro, like, I'm very sorry. How can I send you a bloody link on Facebook? That's not going to happen, is it? Do you not have Instagram either? Bloody hell. That's making it very difficult. I didn't quite expect that situation where someone doesn't have Twitter or Instagram. I hope you have Instagram. Let me know. You means Blues Fans TV? What's Worldwide Chelsea? WWC is Worldwide Chelsea Fantasy PGA Tour. He might be coming on later on as well. I sent him the link anyway. We'll have to wait and see. Let me just follow up on everything that's been said here. Jester saying Alonso had the most shots in the game. Crazy to say, but Alonso did good today. I agree with that. And we'll talk through everything. Right. Enough of that. Let's go through the team. And I guess we touched on Kepa already. Let's continue with that, I would say. Let's continue with that. So what did you make of Kepa? How would you rate him?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, as I said, because he didn't really have much to do, but he did make that one really good diving save, which looked like it was going in the corner, I think.
I think he also saved that free kick by Shelby really well, especially because he caught it and didn't let it down.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think, you know, maybe we're just trying to, you know, big him up a little bit, but I don't know. It was a solid performance, but again, it's hard to judge because we just look so solid in this three at the back, you know, with the wing backs, that we're not letting any teams really have shots on us or attack us. So it's difficult to judge the goalkeepers. Like even Mendy's good at claiming crosses and things, but he's not, you know, like facing a huge volume of shots at his goal. So again, it's hard to sort of say, wow, he made 3-4 amazing saves today, we're going to give him a 9 out of 10 or something, because, you know, you really can't unless you're facing loads of shots. So but yeah, he was decent, he was solid. In terms of rating, I guess you could go like 7, 8 out of 10. I guess he was pretty solid. But yeah, I'm just glad to hear that Mendy will come back in, because I'm a big fan of this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair. Obviously, last time out after the Barnsley game, we gave him 7.5. So we kind of have to give him more than that because then he did made a mistake and today he didn't. So I guess we kind of almost have to push it to an 8. But I don't think it's totally undeserved. Like, obviously, you're saying maybe we're hyping him a bit for that save for the Shelby free kick. And obviously, to not concede from it, I agree. It shouldn't be rated that highly. But the fact that he caught it and held on to it, I think that's very good because, and this is no dig at Mendy at all, Mendy does tend to parry balls away, sometimes not as much to the side as he should. That was probably his biggest weakness when he was at Rennes. So I liked it that he kept hold of it because I thought in general, both of our goalkeepers, whether it's Mendy or Kepa or Caballero, I guess all three, always had a tendency to let balls parry and never keep them. And so I was just happy to see him hold on to that one. Right? I thought you was going to say something then, but then you didn't. Unless you were trying to say something and I just couldn't hear you. Try again.
Oh no, I'm here. Don't worry.
Okay.
I don't really have anything more to add, to be honest, on the keeper situation. It's just, it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I guess because I just changed obviously the thing here, and we gave him a 7.5 last time. I think we're kind of forced to give him an 8 this time around, like at least an 8.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm gonna give him that 8. I follow you on Insta. Brilliant. You follow me on Instagram. I'll send you that thing. There you go. That's who you are. I will get you that link in just a second, bro. I will get you that link in just a second. I guess the next one, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to follow up everything here. Kovacic completed 8 dribbles. Brilliant. Jesters, I'm sorry if I don't put every single one of your messages up now. Even though you remember struggling a little bit to do everything at the same time. I do apologize. But Pies, why don't you run me through what you thought of Aspie in the meantime while I tried to sort everything here out?
Yeah, Aspie was interesting. I mean, it was a pretty solid performance again from him today. Obviously very reliable at centre-back. Still probably one of the most consistent 1v1 defenders. That's what the pundits were saying. He's been really good in this 3 at the back. I'm enjoying watching him. Again, you can have the debate about you want Reece to play there, but as I've said before, when we're winning and when Aspie's playing good, he's not going to be dropped. He's the captain as well. So, I mean, he's pretty undroppable at the moment, if I'm being completely honest. Did a few overlaps again as well, which was good. Obviously, people saying he hasn't really got the legs, so I kind of agree with that. Obviously, he's lost the legs a little bit, but still busting the gut, still trying his hardest like he usually does, has done for so many years. So, just true captain, really, to be honest. True captain's performances since he's come in. And I'm happy with him,
Yeah, honestly, like that's the thing. And obviously a lot of people talk about the fact that we need to get Reece James in the side, and Reece James should play at right centre back. As much as, obviously, even if he has played that position a fair few times in the youth days, you can't just throw him in there and expect him to be like crazy good. People need to understand that experience plays a role to some extent. I'm not even saying experience in terms of age, but you can't just throw him in there in a role that he hasn't played in for years when Azpilicueta is actually doing a really good job there. Like, Aspie isn't that great of a right back anymore. Aspie definitely isn't a brilliant right wing back, but Aspie's a really, really good right centre back in a back 3. And he does a really good job. And people need to just appreciate that. Reece James is my favorite player in the current Chelsea squad. So trust me when I say I really want him to play as well. Trust me when I say that. But there's no point in just forcing him for the sake of it when someone else in his position is actually playing really well. And I think, I can only really praise Aspie again today. I thought he was very good. Obviously, he had some forward passes that he should have done a bit better with, I will say that. But defensively, he kept everything under control, and he was probably, arguably, the most solid out of the 3, I thought. What did you make of that one?
In terms of Aspie?
In terms of the back 3, I thought he was probably one of the most solid of the 3.
Yeah, to be fair, I thought Christensen had quite a good game as well, especially when Andy Carroll came on. I thought, he was trying his best to do the duels and stuff, and I just feel like in the last few weeks he's got more. He seems to have more about him. I don't know if it's Tuchel spoken to him or something, but just seems to be more like tougher. I think that was one of the main criticisms for Christensen always, is that he's not tough enough. He doesn't get stuck in with the duels like other centre backs do. But I think you can make a case for any of the centre backs being the best say. I think they were all as good as each other, really. But again, it's difficult to judge because Newcastle aren't an attacking team. They didn't really attack us. I mean, I would agree with you though in terms of overall Aspie probably edging it, just because he had to deal with St. Maximin, and I thought him and Hudson-Odoi doubled up quite well on St. Maximin. Every time he was, trying to run down the line and trying to get inside, they were sort of doubling up on him and nipping at his heels and stuff. So I thought Aspie dealt with that threat quite well, because he is a really, really good player, St. Maximin, very talented footballer. So to deal with him in the way that they did in terms of Hudson-Odoi and Aspie was really nice to see, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And I would even agree with what Cedric has put here. I mean, I would tend to arguably give the whole back three a 7, personally. Because, like I said, I thought Aspie defensively was probably the best of the three, but I don't think any of them did anything wrong. And Aspie had a few somewhat sloppy moments in the more, forward up the pitch, while, Rudiger and Christensen both won the headers. So I don't think there was much between them three. Would you be happy with giving all three of them a 7?
Yeah, I would, to be fair. I mean, maybe Aspie 7.5, just because of what I mentioned with, the threat of St. Maximin. We didn't see, obviously, St. Maximin up against the others, but I think just because of the threat that he posed and how well he dealt with it, probably a 7.5 for Aspie, I think.
Yeah. I agree. Why not? Love to see this, Larry. Big up yourself, Yubdub. Why not? But yeah, like I still agree with what Cedric said. Some of the passes to the wings missed. That's not wrong. Maybe we'll obviously change it at the end. And someone asked how much it costs to become a member. Just click the join button. It's not crazy expensive. There's obviously different levels of memberships. Not making anyone pay if you don't fancy it, but it is an option if you choose to pick it, I guess. And some more stats. Jester's coming out with Jester coming out with the stats today. Aspie 5 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 clearances. Can't really fault that now, can you? I don't think you can fault that at all. AC had 71 passes at a 94.4 completion, 3 clearances, 1 block shot for every there was 1. Well, yeah, both of them have just been really, have definitely done really well. All 3 of them. You can't really complain about it. I guess after that, because obviously I made a little bit of a mistake. We're talking about the wingbacks before we talked about the DMs, which in the way we play, actually the DMs are way more defensive than our wingbacks. So I guess we'll talk about those 2 first. And they were both again brilliant, I thought. I thought they were both again absolutely brilliant. Both Jorginho and Kovacic in different ways. And Kovacic was certainly better than Jorginho, as in the fact that he stood out more. But I thought Jorginho did everything well. Yes, he had 1 or 2 moments early in the second half where maybe he lost the ball in a position he didn't necessarily have to, but he was also pressed by 2 or 3 people. You can't expect a player to get out of that every single time. Like, it happens. Even to the best players in the world, you can't get out of a press every single time. So I was very happy with those 2. Were you as well? But let's focus on Jorginho first.
Yeah, in terms of Jorginho, again, very good, very comfortable on the ball. Again, I said to you in the previous stream that we did, is against these sides that sit back and stuff that, Kovacic and Jorginho are just so good because they constantly have the ball, they move it, they have a very, very good relationship with each other on the pitch, which is important for 1-2 passes and escaping the press as well. The times that Newcastle did press us, they escaped it well. So, yeah, very impressed with both of them. But Kovacic in particular, I thought was just absolutely unreal. Just his dribbling is just like, I have no words. Like, I put a tweet up as well about his stats and stuff. It's just, some of these stats were absolutely crazy. A performance to remember for him, for sure. But if we're going to give a rating for Jorginho, I'd probably say, I mean, it's hard because obviously we've given the defence like a 7 and 7.5s and stuff. So I think for how well we controlled the game, probably somewhere similar for those, for Jorginho. Do you agree? Probably like a 7.5 or 7. I think Kovacic and Werner are obviously the main standouts for me this game anyway. But
yeah,
for Jorginho alone, probably a 7.5 or a 7. I'll leave it up to you, I think.
Yeah, I would go for a 7.5. I think that would be fair, simply because yes, the defense were good. but all of them weren't really that challenged because obviously Newcastle weren't that good, and they were also missing their biggest forward threat in terms of Callum Wilson. So, we have to take that into account a little bit at least. But I have a very good question here by, who was it? Amandus. And, especially, I'd love to get your thoughts on it as well. Laurenz, who do you think is the better dribbler all round, Kovacic or Pulisic? Because that's actually a really difficult one. And Santana, we will talk about every player in just a minute, but 6.5 for Jorginho is way too harsh. We were really good today, and he was really good today. But anyways, who do you think is the better dribbler all round? Because dribbler, in terms of just dribbling, I would argue that it's probably Kovacic, but Kovacic doesn't dribble quite as fast. And also, we can't forget Kovacic doesn't dribble past defenders, and defenders are better at stopping dribbles than midfielders. More often than not. Obviously, there are exceptions with someone like Kante, right? But on average, defenders are more used to and better at stopping dribbles. So, that comes into it. But I would argue just dribbling, if you just leave out of the end product after that, if you just look at the dribbling ability itself, I would argue Kovacic,
Yeah, I completely agree as well. I said, to a couple of my mates earlier during the game, I think, obviously, Pulisic and Kovacic probably the best two dribblers we've had since Hazard left. I think, fair to say. I mean, it's just like, especially with Kovacic, we've seen it with Pulisic before. He's very good in tight spaces, but like we've seen it in little like bursts and stuff. Like a few games running, he's been unstoppable. But obviously, recently we've seen where Pulisic isn't really taking on his men, and it's kind of losing the ball a bit more. But when you watch Kovacic, he just never loses the ball. Like he's like. I don't have words for it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like some of the clips I could put together of his dribbling are just like mental. Maybe I'll do that at the end of the season, do like a whole compilation of just Kovacic's dribbles and escaping the press, and just the way he beats players is fantastic. And I think another thing we have to mention with Kovacic as well, people give him stick for, not having as good progressive passing as some others, and that's the sort of thing he lets him down. But today, I mean, two key passes and one big chance created. Very good. You could argue as well that one of them could have been a penalty on Tammy Abraham. So it's very interesting for me. I think Kovacic has been amazing under Tuchel.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And we have our member, Rajib, joining us here. Bro, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you're well. What you saying, my friend?
How are you? I'm not too bad, Laurenz. What about yourself? You good?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. Very good.
Right.
Do you want to just run us down? Obviously, we've spoken through Kepa, Aspi, Christensen, Rudiger, Jorginho, and we're just talking about Kovacic. Do you just want to run us through your ratings for those, say, back four plus Jorginho quickly?
I think I'll be honest with you. Kepa didn't really get tested today. I watched the second half. I mean, when he was like playing from the back, he did a bit shady. But other than that, he was all right. He did good. He did his bit of the job. Of course, behind the scenes, we don't know what's going on. As I agreed with him here, obviously that it might be a psychological thing to drop Mendy and then start Kepa. But I'll give Kepa a good 8. He hardly got tested. He did his bit. He did that good save, that finger shot too. But I don't see why not. I can't see anything wrong with that. Back four, Rudiger did very good. He stepped up to the plate today. Rudiger did some good. He got stuck in. Did some good heads. I don't know what Tuchel said to him in that thingy, but I'll tell you what, it's working so far. Kovacic to me deserves a 10. Deserves a 9 and a 10. Absolute class. He ran that midfield. The dribbling skill especially. They just couldn't. I remember one point during the game, they were just pulling his shirt. That's how good he is for dribbling the ball.
It's honestly like Hazard. When Kovacic is on his day in terms of dribbling, it's a bit like Hazard. The only thing you have with Kovacic, he gets into those positions and he has 1 or 2 or 3 shots. And if he's a different type of midfielder or just better at shooting, he probably gets the odd, like a goal every 2 or 3 or 4 games. And he just doesn't do that. And that's where I think I have to peg him down a bit from like a 10, just because his midfield work, his dribbling work, his distribution work, brilliant, absolutely brilliant today. But he got into those positions to score as well, and he didn't quite take those. I will say that. Pys, what would you make of that? Do you think that's a fair criticism of me, or do you think that's a bit harsh?
Well, if you're saying that, then I'm only bumping it down to a 9.999 because he was like. As the other guy said, he was amazing today. So
he was last today.
I do agree. Like obviously, he had a few chances, a couple of shots where he put them over the bar, but it's just Kovacic, man. He's not good at shooting, but everything else is just so good. Like, people need to stop this narrative about, he can't play good passes. He's not a progressive passer. He's been one of our most progressive passers under
He
Tuchel.
smashed it on the passes today, easily. There were some passes he made today. I think what Jorginho would have done if Jorginho had his head to the game a bit more. But he ran that midfield today. I mean, I don't know how Kante's going to get into that team, I'll be honest with you. Gilmore's a tricky one, really. Personally, I like Gilmore over Jorginho because Gilmore's younger and he's got that. Every time he plays, he's just like a Iniesta. He always plays up here. He doesn't rely on the physical. He's always plays in his mind. That's what I get that Iniesta Xavi vibes when Gilmore's on the pitch. Look, Fabregas, really. There's not that really different style of play, Gilmore, just compared to Cesc Fabregas. But because obviously the passing distribution is very good. That's why I prefer him over Jorginho. But obviously Jorginho stepped to the plate at the minute and obviously doing well. It's for a matter of keeping it form going. Honestly, I think we need to, if we could play like that against the big teams like your Cities and United and your Liverpools, I reckon we'll be all right.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. I think the Gilmore one is because obviously he did have a poor performance against Barnsley, and we didn't see Jorginho against Barnsley how he would have done with it. And Jorginho's just been really good under Tuchel, so I don't think we can start dropping him. But let's get onto a rating for Kovacic, because people in the chat saying 8.5. You can't give him a 9 without a goal or assist. I'm kind of tempted to somewhat agree with that when you're a fairly attacking midfielder.
I think for simplicity, I'll just say a 9. Honestly, for simplicity, he deserves a 9, Kovacic, because he absolutely, I'm telling you, he deserves man of the match today. I don't know why Sky Sports will give it to Werner. I mean, don't get me wrong, Werner put in a shift today, and he obviously deserves a goal from today. Obviously, he deserves put thingy in as much as he put to the game. But I just think, Kovacic deserves that man of the match. You need to give it to him, honestly. I don't know how much of a better performance.
He doesn't necessarily deserve the man of the match. I'm just not sure he deserves a 9. But what do you think, Pys? Obviously, I know you both rated him extremely highly, but what did you make of it? And what would you rate him, I guess?
Well, he was absolutely insane. Like, when this match comp comes out, I'm telling you, you guys need to watch it if you don't think he's like, it was just like I'm sorry, he's definitely higher than an 8 or an 8.5. He was so good.
Definitely.
In terms of like the man of the match today, the man of the match all-round player was Kovacic. Werner got the goal and assist, but in terms of the all-round player, who was best on that pitch today was Kovacic, no doubt.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I just still think a 9 without scoring or assisting as a midfielder is very high. Because, so what do you give him if he gets a hat-trick or 3 assists? And you're only going to bump it up by 1? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it is difficult in terms of like an out of a 10 rating, but some of his stats, we're just talking about, you're talking about just, he didn't score or assist, but, he should have got a couple of assists. So I have to rate him very, very highly because he was so good today. Like, he's usually very good, but today he took it to another level. Like, that was
if he can play like that, if he can play like that against Atletico Madrid, I'm telling you, he's probably one of our best midfielders, easily. I can't say
that's Atletico Madrid, sure, but it wasn't Atletico Madrid today. But hey, no, you've beaten me. I've put the 9 down. I've also actually put Kepa down to a 7.5 because I can't be claiming that Kovacic maybe should only be a 8.5. I'm giving Kepa an 8. Can't really be doing that now, can I? That doesn't make any sense. So I gave Kovacic a 9. Maybe we'll have to adjust that towards the end, but it is fair enough. I even put in the title that Werner's man of the match. To be honest, also for a bit of YouTube thing. I don't actually even agree with that in a weird way. Like, he scored and kind of assisted the Giroud goal, but that was kind of his 2 main good moments. Other than that, he had also some bad moments, and Kovacic, other than his 2 shots, didn't have a bad moment. So I agree with you both that Kovacic overall was probably the man of the match. But I guess let's get to first. I have it in the list here. I have Hudson-Odoi here first, and I want to get to him next because he was brilliant. Obviously he didn't get the assist off. I thought he should have had 2 or 3 assists, quite frankly, because a couple of those crosses were brilliant, and there was just, again, no one at the far post when it was literally a tap-in. Part of the things why I'm not actually giving Werner a man of the match, or the highest rating at least, because that's where he should be as the left inside forward. But Hudson-Odoi was very good. Not saying as good as Kovacic, but brilliant. Like, he kept trying. He's a workhorse now as well. The guy tracks back, wins his tackles, wins his, duels, like winning balls, making sure he doesn't go out for a corner, making sure he goes out for a throw-in instead. Just doing everything right at the moment, isn't he, Brigitte?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Callum. Today did very well today. He did what he had to do. He got told, obviously, with his, tracking back, especially playing that role as an attacking winger. As starting and get yourself reverted. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, we've seen a few people do it, like Saka. It's happened to Saka as well. He went to that phase too. And obviously, you got Niles from Arsenal as well. So you got your few players there. That's it's happened to them. Obviously, it's not a bad way of developing a player as well. Especially, you can probably agree with me on there, Laurenz, because it has happened to a few players. Now we are slowly seeing that where you get them wingers that are second choice, but if you can play him, revert him to other roles in the game, you might make him a better player as well. We've seen that with Victor Moses. Well, obviously, we can't say Alonso, but you get the idea, don't you?
Yeah, no, I do know what you're saying. I mean, I do still think there's so much to come from Callum Hudson-Odoi. And personally, as much as I think Saka is a really good player, not anywhere near the level of Callum Hudson-Odoi, in my humble opinion as a Chelsea fan. Arsenal fans will probably slew me for that, but I don't care, really.
I'm here to defend you. I'm telling you, I'm here to defend you. I'm a true blue. You know what I mean? I wore this till the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned. So they can say what they want, but obviously the idea is.
What would you rate Callum Hudson-Odoi today, bro?
I'll say about 8.5 because he did his bit. Can't ask for more.
Okay, you're very generous rater. I see, very generous. No, I get it. Pies, what you saying?
I think in terms of an overall rating, I think probably 8 or an 8.5. I just think the one thing that Hudson-Odoi lacked today was shooting. When he was like running down the right side, I was thinking, is he going to like take someone on and shoot across goal? Because we've seen him do that before when he plays on the right, but he was tending to like, he was really direct, but then he'd like cut the ball back or pass it for an overlap to Aspi or something. And I was just like, why are you not shooting more? I didn't really understand that because like when Reece James come on, you remember the first thing Reece James did was he got the ball down the right.
He just shot it. He just went for it.
He shot and nearly scored. So I think if Hudson-Odoi could shoot more, obviously he'd get more goals. I don't know whether he just wants the assists more because he just passes so much. So he's a very unselfish player. But it was a very good performance again defensively. As I said, him and Aspi doubling up on St. Maximin was very good because that's pretty much their only threat going forward. Almiron's okay, but he's not that great. He's not as good as St. Maximin. So he really stopped the dribbling threat of St. Maximin well, him and Aspi. So I think for his defensive performance more than anything, he does deserve quite a high rating. Yeah,
I agree. Like I've put an 8 down now. I think that's fair overall because I do agree with the few things that he could have done a bit better with. First and foremost, obviously the shooting in a few occasions, the decision making and when to play the pass, when to play the cross. But overall, 8 is still an extremely high rating. And what Cedric said here as well, Hudson-Odoi was class. Even if Newcastle compact diamond gave our wingers a lot of room, thinking ahead of Atletico, Saka, I agree. Exactly. So I think an 8 is quite fair. Next is Alonso. And a lot of you guys will know, I'm not Marcos Alonso's biggest fan. But I really thought Alonso was good today. I thought Alonso was really good today. Sometimes what I didn't like is the fact that he came inside a bit too much, leaving Werner out on the wing a bit too much. When we fly on the Lampard, that's not where we want Werner to be. At the same time, from that position, he kind of assisted Giroud's goal. So can I really say anything? But on average, that's not where I want Werner to be, and I prefer Alonso. But Alonso had a fair few, 2 or 3 good shots. All of them blocked, but they were all going for goal. Arguably better shots than a lot of other players had today. Had a lot of shots, had good movement, had winning aerials, winning duels. I was very happy with Alonso today. And by the way, guys, we have 124 people watching. Make sure you smash the like button right now because like I said to you in the beginning, YouTube loves likes, right? So if the more of you that like this video, the more it will be recommended to random other people that don't know this channel yet. And then I can ask them to subscribe and reach 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible. So if you're new here, subscribe first and foremost. And, smash the like button. That'd be massively appreciated. But Rajiv, what did you make of Marcos Alonso's performance today? Because like I said, And I'm usually very critical of him. I thought he was very good today.
I'll be honest with you. Marcos Alonso, since Tuchel got to the back five system and he got him back, obviously we had that unexpected starting lineup against Burnley. Was it Burnley or was it Wolves? I remember it was Burnley, yeah. It didn't surprise me really. To get best out of Alonso, you have to play him in a back five, back three system. That is how you get best out of Marcos Alonso, unfortunately. He's just one dimensional. He's just one dimensional as a player. He's just a wing back, nothing to his game. And the sense of attacking, I think he can. I can't really say he doesn't do anything. He actually does provide. I wouldn't underestimate Alonso in that side of it. But overall, I think I would give him a 7.5 or just under an 8 from today's moment. Again, he did his bit. He did his bit as a wing back. He got forward. Again, he obviously when Werner got his first goal, not Werner, Giroud got his first goal of the game, he had to just tuck in, play that little second winger. Obviously, he has that second option. Of course, might be a tactical reasons, but he did his bit. Overall, I can't really ask for more from Alonso today.
Yeah,
he did his bit.
I agree. As a left back, it's not it, right? But as a left wing back, while we play that role, I'm okay with Alonso. If he keeps performing like this and he doesn't start having shockers left, right, and centre, and I'm still not sure about him playing against Atletico Madrid because I still worry about him when we have to defend. But in a game like today where we barely have to defend, do excuse me, and even his defensive work rate against Barnsley I was very happy with. But when we don't really have to defend and he plays like today, I'm happy with him. I would agree with a 7.5. What are you saying, Pies?
Yeah, definitely. Again, sorry.
No. Let Pies go first, mate. Let Pies go first.
Yeah, I think probably 7.5 is a fair rating for him. Again, like you guys mentioned, he was tucking in, and we used the width really well today. That was a tactic from Tuchel. Obviously, very I wouldn't say reliant, but we're kind of like using like this double up on the wings kind of thing, which is good at the moment because it kind of gets the best out of our wide players, and it means Werner can have more space because Alonso drags a player away. That's what he was doing today by running so far forward. He was dragging a defender away and then leaving Werner more space to attack. So, I was quite pleased with Alonso, but again, not really a standout performance. He didn't catch my eye or anything where I was like, oh my God, this is a great performance, but just solid again. But I think one of the things we have to mention is they didn't really have any threat coming on the side where Alonso was. It was just all out attack from him today. He could get forward as much as he wanted. I think we have to take that into account and a little bit of context. But I'd agree, 7.5 probably is fair.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And then I guess next is Mason Mount, who it's a weird one because probably out of the outfield players, he made the most weird mistakes without having huge standout moments because Giroud had a lot of mistakes, but had 2 huge standout moments. The switch ball to Alonso for Werner's first big chance, and then the goal. Other than that, I didn't think Giroud was very good, personally. Not bad, but not very good. And Mount did a lot of defensive work that I think will go, under the radar today that people won't care about because we had a lot of the ball and we were a better team or whatever. But he made sure the amount of balls Mount must have won back really quickly to make sure that we killed every Newcastle attack right at the start of it. Was really brilliant work rate. I'm not saying I'm going to give him a 7.5 or 8. I'm just not sure. Do I give him a 6.5 or 7? For me, maybe you two would even say higher. But I think, and to be fair, he had that one shot right, but he dragged that one as well, which I think he could have really scored from. We know how good he is at shooting with both feet. I would personally push a 7 because I think he worked incredibly hard, and that's some people say, that's the only thing Mason Mount does. In some games, that might be it, but hard working is also what wins you the ball back, and winning the ball back stops the opponent from scoring. So, what did you make of that, Rajiv? What would you rate him?
I'll give him a 7. Mason Mount, again, I think anything what Tuchel said to him in that dressing room, he probably just got it on the pitch, really, and he just did his bit. There's not much you can't really ask Mason Mount for today's game, because again, we didn't. They didn't even get. We've got majority of the ball. Newcastle didn't even attempt to win anything. If anything, they were just getting more challenges in. Dirty kids, as far as I'm concerned. Watching that game, they were dirty anyways. But a 7. I'll give Mason a 7. He did his bit. Obviously, he had that little scuffy shot. He did some good defensive duties, and again, obviously, that's something you don't see a lot of Mason Mount of, especially on the Lampard. If I remember, he was mostly on the front, being that little number 8. I can't really remember him being that defensive in his locker, but I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, fair. Pies, what you saying?
Yeah, in terms of Mount, I'd probably say between 6.5 and 7. The thing is with Mount is he'll have games where he'll really affect us and do really well, and he's always the center of attention and everything goes through him. But there'll be other games like today where he'll just not necessarily ghost, because he did have a chance and stuff, but you didn't really notice him that much. I mean, he wasn't involved in the build up as much, I don't think, today. So probably between a 6.5 and a 7. Again, in terms of the chance he had, it wasn't a really simple chance, but it was one where I'd at least expect him to hit the target or score. I think the Sheffield United chance was harder and he scored. So
yeah,
I mean, he's still young. He can improve on his finishing. Sure, he will.
And it was his weak foot as well. We have to give him that as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Sheffield United one was too, but just because he scores that one, you can't expect him to do it.
Tuchel was saying as well that our attackers need to work on being more deadly and especially decision making. So that was probably a little thing towards Mount and the other attackers. But again, he's young. He has time to improve. He has a lot of minutes to play. So not being too harsh on him in terms of rating, I'm happy for a 7 or a 6.5.
Yeah, I think that overall, let's agree on a 7. And I guess the next one to talk about is Timo Werner. Obviously, finally managed to score again for the first time in 14 games. So this was now his 15th game. Obviously, he scored against Morecambe, but this was just in the Premier League now. And seemingly the Morecambe goal didn't really help his confidence or anything. But he already had a better performance against Sheffield United, a good performance against Sheffield United, and did that again today. Obviously he had some poor moments. He had his poor touches. He had his poor passes. He had his weird attempts of dribbles where he ran into the opponent and then looked at the ref giving him a death stare for not giving him a free kick, when I'm like, bro, you just ran into him. As much as the ref was very dodgy today, for that moment where Werner pulled off that death stare, I'm like, you don't have anything to go by here. The penalty I understand more, actually, especially when you see some that Salah and Manchester United get given. I'm like, yeah. Then that shove on Mason on Werner is probably a pen as well, quite frankly. I will get on the team of Werner, the Tammy Abraham one later. But Werner, I would say we gave Kovacic the 9. I would say even though Werner did a couple of things badly, I think because he assisted the goal pretty much for Giroud, and he did really well there to go past 2 people, smash the ball into the dangerous area. And that's sometimes what you have to do. You don't always have to place it perfectly on your teammate's foot. But to put it in that area, the goalkeeper had to parry it, and it falls to Giroud. That's pretty much an assist. I think he did very well there. He obviously got the goal as well, which, it wasn't the craziest of pretty goals and fancy goals and unbelievable skill goals, but he got a goal. And in his situation, that's all he really needs. So I will back at 8.5. But let me go with Pice first this time. What are you saying?
Yeah, it's difficult because we gave Kovacic a 9, and you could say Werner got the man of the match, so Werner deserves even more than Kovacic. But as I said, I personally think Kovacic... What's that?
No, just keep going. I'll get to you in a second, Rajiv. I'll get to you in a second.
All right, yeah. So I think it's going to be difficult because, as I said, Kovacic we gave a 9, so. You can't give Werner a lower rating than that because he did get man of the match and he got the goal and assist, which was very important, and he just looked a lot more confident. He took a few batterings as well in his face, so it was kind of a difficult game for him in terms of that, having to deal with that. But I don't know. He either gets a 9 or he gets a 9.5. It's difficult. It really is because obviously we give Kova a 9 and. We was all gassing him up, and rightly so. But Werner did get the official man of the match, so I will go with a 9 for the sake of debate and just level it up in
Okay.
terms of Kova and Werner. But yeah, it's open to debate. If you want to put him higher because he got man of the match and the goal contributions, then sure, I'm open to that because he was really good. So
To be honest, I would have even accepted an 8.5 personally, and just our man of the match make it Kovacic. But what did you make of it, Rajib? You need to unmute yourself, but then tell me, what did you make of Werner's performance, and what would you rate him? What would you rate him? Let me know. Would you give him an 8.5, a 9, maybe even 9.5? Let me know.
I'll say Werner an 8.5. I can't really ask for much over. I can't really give him a 9, but he did assist. He did get the goal finally at last. He did his bit. He did work hard, which contributed towards not. He does it in every last 5 games in general, but there's not much I can ask for really. But Werner, he did his bit. End of the day, he got the goal. He's got the assist for Giroud. And again, he works on and off the ball. Can't see why not. Should deserve an 8.5.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking as well. And I know Pice said, he got the man of the match overall. I think we can also just disagree with that, because I agree with also what Fantasy PGA Tour put in the chat. I just think he did a couple of too many things wrong to be a 9, and Kovacic didn't. Kovacic had the 2 or 3 shots that he could have done a bit better with. Werner certainly had a few more things that he did wrong, as much as he got the goals, and you need the goals to win games. I would be okay to give him a 9 as well, but I definitely can't be higher than Kovacic in my opinion. So what we saying? 8.5 or 9? Pice, what are you saying?
I'll say 8.5.
Okay. What are you, Pice?
I think it's only fair to give him a 9 because he did get the official man of the match and the goal contribution. So I think probably 9 for me is only fair. I think people will be upset if we give a lower rating.
Let's spread some positivity. Let's back the guy. He finally broke his goal drought. And just give him a 9. You never know. He might be sat at home now saying, finally I've scored. I'm going to watch all the YouTube things about me. And then, he'll sit here, see us say, oh, you didn't even do that well. And he'll be fuming. So I would just give him that 9. Why not? Might as well. And I guess the next one we have to talk about is Tammy Abraham. Of course, he was only on the pitch for 20 minutes. And the penalty situation, in my opinion, that is a penalty. I think, was it Lascelles that tackled him? I don't know who was. But the Newcastle defender, in my opinion, clearly tackled Tammy's foot first, then got the ball, and then properly went through him. He still collected Tammy first before he touched the ball. To me, that's a penalty. But we also can't ignore the fact that if he had a better touch, he would have had a 1-on-1, and Tammy doesn't really miss 1-on-1, so then he would have scored. So as much as he won as a penalty, we also kind of have to take it away from him because he should have just scored instead, and then he wouldn't have been injured, and then we would be talking about a very different situation here. So obviously it's only 20 minutes, so it's tough to even rate him. I would say we still just about can rate him. But it's because I actually thought he was quite good up until then. I thought he got involved in a link-up play. He dropped back. He passed his way around well. And I think it was pretty decent. Like I said, could have done better with the touch. But overall, I think it was pretty good. What did you make of it, Rajib? What did you think of Tammy? Obviously, it was only 20 minutes, but still. You need to unmute yourself, bro.
1 second. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Right. I think he contributed quite well. I mean, the first 20 minutes, I felt like there is a difference between what Giroud offers, what he offers on the pitch, on and off the pitch, especially off the ball. But I think it would be. I don't know. Something's telling me it's going to be a bit of a loss against Athletic Madrid, especially.
Obviously, we don't know how long he'll be out for. He might be back very soon. It might just be a bit of a tough knock on the ankle. I don't think he would have torn anything. Personally, I think it was just like a rolled ankle, and you saw for a week or 10 days, and then you should probably be fine. So let's see if we can just about squeeze the Atletico game. I think we'll see. But I would certainly personally say a 6. Wasn't on the pitch for long enough to give him anything else. And like you said, got involved, did okay. Should have done better with the chance. But hey, if he did better with the chance and, he wouldn't have been injured, so then we're in a totally different situation, right? So what are you saying about that, Pice?
Yeah, I think around a 6 is probably fair for Tammy, obviously, because he didn't really have much time on the pitch, but he was, making some runs in behind and stuff. But obviously, really, really hard to judge anything from him today, to be honest. because of the lack of minutes on the pitch. So really short answer for me, just probably a 6, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Rajiv, did you have anything else to add to that?
I agree. I've given him a 6. Really, there's not much I can probably. You can't really see much after that. And, well, when he got injured, I'll give him a 6.
Exactly. We have a good comment by Cedric here saying, with potentially Tammy out for a few games, are you guys concerned with Giroud adapting to Tuchel? And that is obviously we'll talk about Giroud next here now in terms of rating today, because Giroud got his goal. And other than that, has severely struggled under Tuchel. And like I said, some people will maybe criticize me for this, but I don't think he had a good game other than the switch ball to Alonso for Werner's first chance and the goal. I don't think he held up any balls in the second half. Whenever we had to punt it, he didn't hold up a single one of them, barely won any headers. And it took him 5 seconds to almost give Newcastle the biggest chance of the game. Because, I mean, that was a shocking pass to Jorginho. Hey, you know, some people might slew me. Thankfully, we don't have Dubois here. But, Pies, let me go to you first. What did you make of Giroud's performance? And what would your response to Cedric's question be?
Well, yeah, first off, I thought Giroud was okay, you know, but I do kind of look at the bigger picture with Giroud, and I'm like, he does get goals off the bench and stuff, and he does hold the play up. I thought he'd done that but much better today than previous games. I thought he was losing some of his hold-up play previous games, but that kind of came back today. I felt he was holding the ball up well. But in terms of like the bigger picture, in terms of that question, I think if you look at our games coming up, we've got Southampton away and then Atletico Madrid. Well, in terms of Southampton, they're going to be the first team that are going to really play a high line and kind of attack us. So I think Werner up top on his own would be perfect for that, with wingers of Pulisic and someone else, because I think, you know, Werner can get in behind, running behind, cause them a lot of problems with his movement. So it wouldn't make sense to start Giroud against Southampton for me. That game just doesn't suit him at all with a high line and the way that we will get counter-attacks when they attack us, especially, and on the ball. Werner's going to be running in behind and finding more space than he has previous games. So Werner up top on his own for me against Southampton. In terms of Atletico Madrid, that's maybe where you can sort of have a case for Giroud if Tammy isn't back fit, because obviously it's a deep block. We may have to resort to crossing, you know. God knows what's going to happen in that game. It's going to be very, very interesting, very eventful. Yeah, we may have to resort just to spam crossing to Giroud in that game, because I can definitely see that game in particular being so annoying for us, just to try and break down their deep block. It's like, one thing is like a deep block of like Newcastle or Burnley, and then you play Atletico Madrid, like they are the kings of the deep block. You know, like guys, like we might have to, you know, stick Giroud up top, play Ziyech right wing, and just spam crosses and see if we can get a decent result, you know, for one of their legs. And then we can get them back at home, and then we can maybe attack them a bit more.
I agree with that.
Exactly. But, so, Pies, just before I get to Rachib quickly, what would you rate Giroud today?
Well, it can't be a 6 like Tammy Abraham, because he got a goal and he did play decent. I think, well, we gave Mount a 7, didn't we? And he didn't do as much as Giroud. He didn't get a goal. He didn't impact the game as much as Giroud. So I think 7.5.
Okay. Rajiv, what are you saying?
I'll say 7.5. I can't. Again, I think he has got a point about the next upcoming game is playing Giroud. Giroud is obviously, again, he's a target man. If you're going to play him in the high line, he will struggle. So the best way you play Giroud is playing someone in that mid line, kind of playing, you know, low block, especially because, again, if you think about teams that will sit back, especially like Atletico Madrid, that's so good tactically, especially defending as well. You need that one guy that will shove off people as knocking off defenders, and that's where Giroud comes in. But I think Werner, I think for Southampton's game, I would definitely highly recommend we should start Werner. Again, I agree everything.
My team against Southampton, assuming we'll stick to the 3 at the back. If Havertz is back, I would love to play Havertz as the striker, drop in as a false 9, and have Werner and maybe Pulisic as the wide strikers. Or if Havertz isn't fit, kind of just play a Werner, Pulisic front 2 and a Mount as a 10 behind them. I think that would work incredibly well against Southampton. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what Tuchel does. For me today, Giroud, I think Mount, if you exclude the goal, I think Mount did more and did better than Giroud. But because of the goal, I will push him to a 7. But if both of you say 7.5, hey, you beat me 2-1. So I'll go 7.5. But my rating would be 7. I would say 6 without the goal, and then the goal pushes him up by a 1.27. Be my rating. What are you saying about that, Pice? Because Rajib seems to be somewhat okay with it. But what are you saying about that one?
Well, unfortunately, you've already lost 2-1, so it doesn't really matter.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. Hey, fair enough. I will save it's my channel domination for another day. I guess the next one is N'Golo Kante. Obviously, he played a good 20-25 minutes. Wasn't very good in my opinion. I mean, I thought our midfield was a lot worse the second he was on, personally. People won't like to hear that, but I thought we were. Obviously, that's not just down to him, but also that the team didn't really listen to Tuchel, who was on the sideline screaming his bloody lungs out to stay in the opposition half. But our team is still not confident in themselves to see out games, and they still drop more than the coach would like, and that will take a little bit of time to solve that issue. But I don't think you can give Kante anything higher than a 6, personally, and that's that at a stretch, personally. But Rajib, what are you saying about that one?
I kind of agree with you on that one. A 6. I'll be nice to give him a 6.5. No disrespect to Kante as a player, especially what he's bring us over the years. I just think that under Tuchel, I don't know. To me, he just doesn't suit Tuchel's style of play. I don't know. I might get abused. I might be thinking, who the hell is this guy speaking about? Something's telling me he just doesn't suit Tuchel's style of play attacking wise. But if Tuchel's instructing the players to defend, I said that's where he suits him, because again, Tuchel likes Kante as a pivot. Again, obviously, to get the best out of Kante, you play in that holding role, especially, or you could play him alongside with somebody in a 6 as a pivot. I bet obviously that's the best way of getting out of Kante. That's only if you're telling him to defend, or we need to defend the goal, or to keep it going, keep that goal tight, or maybe we're playing against Atletico Madrid. I don't know. That's just what I think of Kante at the minute. But no disrespect to the player, especially
no disrespect to him at all. I do also think that Tuchel will find a way for him, and Kante is still coming back from an injury, isn't really getting many starts, and will certainly get better again. I fully believe in it, because Kante on form is one of the best players in the world, certainly one of the best midfielders in the world. But right now, it just ain't it, in my opinion. What would you give him today, Pice? And also, what did you make of his performance today?
Yeah, again, it's very interesting. You can't really give him a higher than probably a 6 or a 6.5 as a stretch, because, again, we didn't really see much of him. He didn't come on for that long. And that's the one thing I think about Kante at the moment. Obviously, we haven't really seen him in this 3 at the back kind of pivot for a full 90 minutes yet. So we can't sit down and go, right, he's bad at this, he's not doing this as good as the other guy, or it's very hard when you can't judge. And I mean, it's hard enough even judging a 90-minute performance. Usually you need the stretcher games, but it's even harder when he's just coming off the bench and kind of playing 20 minutes here and there. So
he did play the 90 against Barnsley, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I was more talking about the league, to be honest. In terms of Premier League opposition, we haven't really seen him, what he can do. We all know what Kante can do defensively, but we haven't seen it on the Tuchel yet, And obviously there's the factor of him being not, for me, I don't think he's very good on the ball. I mean, some people will probably hate me for that, but I just think it's fact, to be honest. I don't think he's very good in possession. I mean, he can have a few nice switches of play sometimes, but he's not as comfortable as Jorginho or Kovacic. I don't think there's a debate to be had about that. So
yeah, I agree with you. I can't see anything wrong with what you said there. Kante, for me, he can carry the ball, but I just can't see him being that person. Give the ball to him, he'll hold possession for you. I can't see him doing that. That's just not his game. That's just not in his locker. For him, if you just tell Kante, defend, run around, do your bit, he'll actually do your bit, because that is Kante, defending that midfield, running around, getting the people off guard. That's Kante. That's it. Nothing else. I understand when we had Maurizio Sarri, he was playing on that little right hand side in the right 4-3-3. He obviously had to adapt, but that's not his game. It's just like saying Mason Mount playing, I don't know, striker when he's not really a striker. You know what I mean? He can play centre forward. You know, he can probably adapt as to play centre forward, but his natural position is midfield. Again, I just think like that about Kante. I just can't see him. I agree everything what you said there.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it.
Can I just add something quickly? The thing is, as well, is you mentioned there about Kante can carry the ball. People were saying that about Kovacic, and I kind of agree. But over like these last few games and since Tuchel was joined, Kovacic has started playing, you know, more punchy, aggressive passes, and I don't see Kante doing that. Like Kante doesn't try over the top passes. He doesn't look for the runners. He doesn't play those punchy passes.
They're different types of players. They're totally different.
Therefore, different types of players.
I don't have a problem with Kante replacing Jorginho because I don't really like Jorginho that much. But then again, that pivot just has never worked because they're both roamers. You know, they don't. Yeah. One of them doesn't sit. You know, it just. I don't know whether that can be fixed tactically. I'm sure it can, but again,
the only way it works is if you play a 3. It doesn't work in a 2.
But then again, in a 3, I don't like Kante as a lone DM because he just gets isolated. I've said this so many times. Like,
it's so weird. Genuinely,
what is the point of Kante anymore? Like, I don't understand. He's such a good guy and he's such a good player, but he's not in the right team and system. This is I've been saying this for like the last 2 or 3 years. And
that's it. Because I mean, the amount of people that talk about Jorginho is a total system player and everything. Yeah, I think these days Kante is more of a system player than Jorginho is.
He is.
Once are playing in an attacking team.
Like if Allegri came in, Kante would be first name on the team sheet because it's naturally more defensive and naturally more deeper. But we play so like Tuchel is like progressive passing, possession football, and getting it to the attackers as fast as we can.
Yeah. Obviously, Kante will do really well in winning the ball back quick in a counter press. He will be extremely useful. But then to actually make use of the counter press, he's a bit of a hindrance sometimes. It's a tough one. And I do still believe that Tuchel can also get more out of Kante than we've seen for him and then that we think of him right now. I do believe that. But, same as Sarri did. You know, I didn't expect him to be as good as what Sarri made him do as he ended up being. Obviously, there was this whole debate. It's not his position and whatever. Sarri made Kante be one of our better players. He wasn't ever the best player, but he was very often one of our better players. And I think not a lot of us expected that.
Laurenz, the thing is, everyone has an emotional attachment to Kante because of what he's done for us over the last few years. So when, like, the last few managers, when he's started to be doubted and his performances have dropped off, everyone's like, well, no, it's Kante. You can't go mental at him. He can't be replaced. But it's fact. Like, he doesn't get into this team at the moment because we're playing so well with Jorginho and Kovacic. I'm happy for him to play. I don't mind it against certain oppositions, like Manchester United. Bruno's off the ball movement and Rashford and things like that, I think it'll be a nightmare for Jorginho. I think they're going to be naturally attacking us more. I think they'll have more of the ball than the other teams we played. I think Kante could do a good job. But again, Kante is not a guy that is first name on the team sheet just because of his name and his performances anymore. It's just not. So fans are going to have to accept that Kante isn't going to be playing week in, week out like we've been used to over the last few years. It is what it is. Yeah. That's why.
I mean, one thing I can say. Sorry to interrupt. One thing I can say is he's not getting any younger anymore, Kante, as well. So the age is catching up to him. You have to bear in mind as well. That will play a massive role as well. So it's understandable, getting him off the bench, and the way we introduce him is just the way we use him.
Plays a part to some extent, right? The age definitely plays a part to some extent. I think it's also the first name on the team sheet. I think the reason why a lot of us are so hesitant in saying, we need to get rid, because with how good he still is, just not necessarily suited to us. We know whoever we give him to, whoever decides to want him, he will be world class, and we will look like mugs. And that's the reason.
That's why. I think that's the reason why I'm still keeping Kante, because the minute PSG take him or Bayern take him, or your big names take him, he will be world class. That not just applies to Kante, that applies to Pogba. It applies to any other midfielders in the world. You play him you get him into Real Madrid or Bayern's, they will be class.
Yeah, exactly. But guys, we've been going for over an hour already. Let's just quickly get to Reece James as well. Obviously the last guy that came from the bench. I thought he was pretty good. Obviously had the one shot that almost ended up being a goal. So he had one very positive moment, and other than that, didn't do anything wrong. As much as he only played, 15 minutes. I would just be nice to give him a 7 for that. I don't think you can give him any higher because he wasn't on for longer, but I didn't think he did anything wrong, plus did something good. So, I will give him a 7. Let's just do it quick because I want to round this out. It's late. So let me just quickly get your responses and thoughts to that. Pies, let me go with you first. What are you saying about that one?
Yeah, I totally agree with Reece James being a 7. I mean, I love Reece James. Very attacking. Today, at least, he was really positive going forward. Looked like he had something to prove. I was like getting excited when he had that shot and he burst forward. I was like, go on, like score, like come on, this would be brilliant for us. But I just think he's such a positive player overall, and I think he will eventually get back in the side. I don't think we'll stick with 3 at the back forever, but obviously Tuchel said there's no need to change at the moment, and we've discussed Aspi not being dropped because he's been playing really well, and Hudson-Odoi is probably the natural better wing back, obviously. And again, I just want to address this comment here quickly. I think he's talking about my Kante comments. He's saying like there are rotations and injuries. You're talking like someone who hasn't watched the full season of football, and like this is the thing with Kante is I don't hate him. I don't think he gets into our best team at the moment. And of course, bro, there will be injuries and rotations. And I'm not saying that Kante can't come in and do a really good job for us, and he can't be tactically moulded under Tuchel and do different things that us fans want and can see watching the games. But for now, I think he doesn't get into this team, and it is what it is. So it's not any hate on Kante. So I just want to clear that up because I love Kante.
I think people need to face facts. I think people need to face facts
Honestly,
about Kante. He just can't. They can't. I think with Kante, don't get me wrong. The success he brings to this club, and obviously his previous years, we can't take that away from him. But times are changing. We're going into attacking type of football. We can't go again. Like you said, if Allegri took over, he'll be number 1 choice starting every week in, week out, because his style of play is different. Allegri likes to defend, likes to blame, similar to Conte, likes to defend like Italians. You know what I mean? They got different style of play, plays a different role. And unfortunately, Kante just does not suit that style of play. As harsh as it may sound, if you're going to be, the only way you're probably going to get Kante is just tell him, just defend that midfield, make sure we get that 2-0 till the end of till that whistle blows. That's the only thing you're going to have to do, unfortunately, with Kante.
Yeah, there you go. But Rajiv, what did you make of Reece James just quickly before we leave this one out?
7. I could have asked for more. My shirt says number 24. I like Reece James. I like Reece James. To me, anytime I play football, I just think of Reece James because he's strong. He's got that. He's that future wing back, right back you need in your team, and play centre back. But overall, 7.
For sure. Thomas Wright put it in the comments who was man of the match. Obviously, officially it was Timo Werner. For us, it was Mateo Kovacic. We're gonna put it at that. Even though in the ratings we actually gave Werner and Kovacic the same rating, but we all agreed that Kovacic was actually the better player. Even though, of course, Werner did the decisive thing in terms of assisting and scoring. Which, hey, if Kovacic plays like he does and no one gets goals and we draw 0-0. We're sat here and saying, well, it's great that Kovacic was that good, but we didn't win. So at the end of the day, someone still needs to do the business at the top. And today was just a good team performance. The first half was brilliant. The second half was decent enough. And, some people even said, did we rest some legs for Southampton? I don't think so, because we don't have a midweek game. We don't play till Saturday. So I think that's a bit of a, telling us things that aren't the reality. We just weren't that good in the second half. But hey, things are improving. That I would argue that first half was probably our best half under Thomas Tuchel yet in terms of play and final output, because I think it's the first half we scored 2 goals in as well. I think all the other games so far we've scored 1 goal per half or just 1 goal per full game. So Cedric said, London is blue, lads. I think that's a good way to end it. First of all, thank you to Rajiv for coming on. Thank you to Pies for coming on. Check out CFCPys in the description down below. If you fancy, obviously, his Twitter, definitely follow him. Good content, definitely check it out. Like I said, and again, thank you for coming on. As far as he's available, he will probably be on most of these player rating streams because I appreciate his thoughts. Some of you say he hates on people, some of you say he, bigs up some other people, but hey, it makes it for an interesting conversation, in my opinion. So thank you for coming on. Again, thank you for Rajib. And ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this, I really appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers as soon as bloody possible. That would just be sick. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Let me see how many likes we're on right now. I think it's 60, 65. So make sure, how about, we still have over 100 people watching. So make sure we get at least 80 right now. And I'm sure as this, video is out, we'll hit the 100 likes. But hey, if we can hit the 100 likes right now, that'd be absolutely sick. So just go down below, smash the like button. Doesn't cost you any money, barely cost you any time. But yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. UK time with Monster and Craigo28 or Ian, whatever you want to call him. So definitely tune in for that. Subscribe if you don't want to miss that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.